Good to have you on the show.
Now, happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Today is my actual birthday, but I'm going to celebrate it all week long. It's going to be a birthday week.
If you can celebrate all year round, that's
even better.
There you go.
Now, you brought your book,
yes,
Sarah Palin, Out of Nowhere, and we'll go ahead and hold this up here so you can see it here. And you took a long time to write this book. It took you a while to put it all together, and I want to get to the ins and outs, so to speak, of what it takes to write a book and what made you choose her. But first of all, the very first question I want to ask you is, she was out the gate, hit the floor running, and all of a sudden something happened. And my question is, how do you think the media treated her, and how do you think she treated the media? And did that factor into her success or failure?
Well, first off, I would say that in chapter 4 of my book, I actually have a chapter called Lamestream Media Mafia. And to understand how she was treated, you also have to understand exactly who the media is. And I'll give you an example of what I talk about in the book. In the book, I talk about a guy by the name of Jeffrey Immelt. Jeffrey Immelt is the CEO of General Electric. Jeffrey Immelt is now one of Barack Obama's advisors, but he has a vested interest in Barack Obama being president. And so General Electric actually owns NBC News. So you have to understand, is you got NBC News, you have General Electric, and they have a vested interest. Their main objective is to take out whoever is a threat to Barack Obama. Governor Palin electrified the ticket. It's in the mainstream media, being in the pocket of Barack Obama, they decided they had to take her out, and they went out and they tried to put public perception, that she's some sort of dimwit, that she's not capable of being president, even though she had 10 years of executive experience. To go with that, I mean, you have, for example, you have like, they went out and talked about who said that you could actually see Russia from your backyard. 90% of America, it's been polled, 90% of America thinks, oh, Governor Palin said that. Well, that was comedy. That was actually Tina Fey from Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Governor Palin. Governor Palin said you actually can see Russia from Alaska, which is true. But here at the same time, you've got Barack Obama stating, as he's running for president, that he's been to 57 states. Well, anybody running for president knows there's 50 states. Now, you flip that around, if it was Governor Palin said we've been to 57 states, they would have really went off with that, tried to say, see how idiotic she is. With Barack Obama, they carry the water for him to try to make him sound so good. And there was really a lot of distortion. I talk about it in the book, especially in chapter 4, where I relate Governor Palin with Barack Obama, and showing a side-by-side comparison of how the media really took specific issues and made it worse out for Governor Palin, while with Barack Obama, they basically carried the water for him.
Well, you know, I've heard it said that there's no bad press other than no press. But in her case, it seemed like there was bad press. There
was bad press. And I'll give you an example in the book. In the book, like in the chapter Lamestream Media Mafia, there's a chapter, or there's a subchapter in there called Lies, Deception, and in that lies and deception and media affairs, what I talked about was, an example was how the media came out and they said that Governor Palin was involved in these affairs with Todd's business partners, but they couldn't name the sources. Also, John McCain, the New York Times came out and said, oh, Governor Palin's involved with a lobbyist and an affair, but we can't name who the source was. An example, nobody ever talked about the affairs that Barack Obama was suspected to be involved with. There's a guy by the name of Larry Sinclair, for example. He's a registered Democrat out of the out of Minnesota, but he owned a restaurant in Chicago. And Larry Sinclair had a press conference that he had engaged in a homosexual relationship with Barack Obama back between specific dates of November 3rd, November 8th of 1999, and he had asked for Barack Obama to give the records, show the records, the phone records. He actually stated that him and Barack Obama used cocaine together in the back of a limousine went to the specific hotel in Gunnery, Illinois. But see, this is the real kicker of the whole thing. So you have the suspected, who knows if it's true or not true, but then what the media doesn't report is, as Barack Obama is running for president, at the end of 2007, 60 days, within a 60-day time period, 3 men from Barack Obama's church, one by the name of Donald Young, which was actually a close friend of Barack Obama, these 3 men were murdered. They were all homosexual men. 2 of them were shot and killed execution style. The media never reported on it. Myself, as a peace officer, I know for a fact when you have a suspected person that's been accused of being involved in homosexual activity, and then you have 3 men that are from Barack Obama's church that are homosexuals that are mysteriously murdered, you at least question the campaign, you question Barack Obama, regardless if you're not involved or not. But they did ask Donald Young's mother about it, and she said they are covering something up. Something's being covered up here. And so the whole thing is, if let's say Governor Palin, let's say if she herself had been accused of a homosexual relationship and 3 women from her church were murdered, the media would have been all over.
That's what I'm going to ask. I mean, do you think that there's some favoritism being shown here by the media? It's like, we won't talk about this, but we're going to expose everything over here.
Absolutely, because what it is right now with the media, they are a channel of the Democrat Party. And
all media?
Not all media, no, but your primary networks are carrying the water for Barack Obama.
Do you think that, like MSNBC and
absolutely, because
NBC?
MSNBC is owned by an individual who is in the Barack Obama's campaign.
And what about Fox News?
Fox News, actually, in my research, they are also a media giant that's owned. I can't even remember the guy's name right now, but with Fox News, the guy has a vested interest with the Democrat Party. Matter of fact, more money's been.
Isles, is that his name?
No, Rupert Murdoch, I believe is the guy's name. But anyways, they are more invested into the Democrat Party. But what Rupert Murdoch's smart about, he realizes he can get a bigger audience by being more conservative on his network. So they are more of a conservative network.
Well, I hear that conservative radio is a lot more popular than, would I say, liberal radio? I mean, it seems like they have a greater following. Yes. Do you find that in television media as well?
I believe so, yes. Yes, I think there's more and more people, as they become more and more informed, they're going to be channeling to more media that is more fair and balanced.
Well, here's a question. I've asked this a couple of other times to a couple of previous guests, and that is, do you think that the media is influencing America, guiding them or manipulating them into a certain way of thinking for their voting for 2012?
Yeah, you know, there's a thing called the Communist Manifesto, where communists here in America, back in the 1920s, they realized they could not defeat America through our military power. And so what they wanted to do is they realized they had to come through a back door, through an internal aspect. And they had to take control of America through the inside. And they have taken control. In their Communist Manifesto, they actually talk about taking control of the media, taking control in the school system, taking control of the political parties. And it's known as Barack Obama, for example, some of the people that he's been associated with, one of the guys by the name of Frank Marshall Davis. He's a guy that had infiltrated into as a communist that is supposed to be arrested if we ever broke out with Russia, a war with Russia. He was supposed to be arrested. He had joined the Democrat Party. William Ayers, the unrepentant terrorist that Barack Obama launched his political career from. In his home, Barack Obama, started his political career. This is a guy that in 2002 stated, "I am a Marxist," from Karl Marx, the father of communism. So the Democrat Party has taken, where you have a lot of these communist radicals have actually infiltrated into the Democrat Party, and they're actually taking the country into steps of socialism, which is the step towards communism. So
this is what I see, what you're saying here, is that the communist way of thinking is infiltrating their way into the Democratic Party. Is that
absolutely?
Okay.
It's part of their plan, It's actually documented in the part of the plan through the Communist Manifesto. And it's also further documented into a guy by the name of Saul Alinsky. I talk about communist influence on America in chapter 5 of my book. Saul Alinsky is a guy that was a community organizer who actually stated, matter of fact, in his book, Rules for Radicals, he dedicates his book to Satan himself. In the book, he stated that Satan was or Lucifer was the father of lies, and that did so effectively that he received his own kingdom. And Saul Alinsky advises those that are his disciples, which include Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, that they were to use lies, deception, manipulation of the people. And he's talked about hope and change, social change, that you establish hope for the poor class. You establish social change for the middle class. And by establish hope and change, you would be able to gain the plurality of people to actually come out and vote for you. And that you ignore the upper class, because the upper class would not vote for you, but you wanted to go ahead and use anything you can of lies, deception, manipulation to gain control of that middle class. And that's where his words were hope, social change, which is very close to the motto of Barack Obama when he had ran for president, hope and change.
You know, something else that I see infiltrating the other side, the Republican Party, is the Tea Party.
Yes.
What is your take on their stance? Because they get a lot of bad press as well, because it seems like, you know, the Democrats far left are very far left, and the Tea Party people are far right. Not to be confused with other factions of the Tea Party, but the National Tea Party.
You know, I'm very, very glad you brought that issue up, because when you look at the Tea Party, here's an organization that of people that love God, love their country, they're very patriotic, they love the Constitution. They want to see capitalism in the Constitution still as the fabric mold of our nation. And here the media, again, has tried to go out there and try to demonize them as a group of people that are racist. And yet, and you have even Vice President Biden has gone out there and stated, oh, they're terrorists. What's interesting about them is if you hear this, the Tea Party as a terrorist organization, that according to Vice President Biden, the Obama administration won't even call it terrorist a terrorist. They're called enemy combatants. So here you have law-abiding, Constitution-loving individuals who love America are called terrorists, but yet terrorists aren't even called terrorists. And now you look at the Occupy Wall Street, the other side of the Tea Party, which basically is against capitalism. They're out there. They're fighting against capitalism. They're trying to say they're all supported by the communist movements. They're supported by the socialist movements, the Communist Party USA. What people also don't understand is Barack Obama has already been endorsed for president by the Communist Party USA. But the Communist Party USA has actually come out and stated that Barack Obama's agenda is the same agenda as the Communist Party USA. They're aligned with each other. What we need to do now is we just need to inform the American people of where the Democrat Party is taking us. And I'm a father, I'm a son of, my father was a Democrat, many of my relatives are Democrats, and they realize the Democrat Party has basically left them. And I'm not all going to go ahead and give the Republican Party a pass, because when you talk about the Tea Party, for example, I always say the Democrat Party's taken us to a quick death as a nation. The Republican Party's bringing us to a slow death as a nation. It's the Tea Party that's trying to save this nation.
Do you see that the media is tearing up the Tea Party to pull them apart within themselves, or to polarize them against the American people?
They're trying to polarize them to basically make them look like there's some radical organization. Again, that is the tools of the media, the mainstream media that's out there to try to demonize anything that goes against their movement. And what they want to do is they want to bring America into the socialist nation where government gets more and more power. And as Saul Alinsky has written about in his book, socialism is just a step towards communism.
Well, with that being said, I would like to send a message out there to the people in TV land and anybody who's listening on YouTube, and that is the media is very powerful. And so it doesn't matter if it's radio or TV or local or national. My advice is if you are running for office or or if you're wanting to get some information out there, it might be wise to cozy up to the media?
Well, you know what?
I mean, here's a question. That's put in a question.
Yeah.
I mean, my advice is that you start making friends with the media instead of polarizing them against you.
I think it's important to tell the truth and stand on principles. I mean, there's going to be people who are going to be against you. For example, John McCain had a problem where he wanted to be liked by everybody, and he tried to walk the center aisle. You'll be more respected if you stand on firm principles than try to go ahead and be lukewarm in the middle, and just be honest with the media.
Well, how do you do that without alienating the media?
I think basically what you have to do is just be honest with the media. If the media has an agenda, they're going to have an agenda no matter who you are. As far as if you step on toes on their agenda, they're going to come after you. And give you an example of Herman Cain right now. Herman Cain was a threat to the Democrat Party. Here you have a black man who is successful. He has run a business. He is a Washington outsider. If you looked at what the Democrat Party had done, anybody that ran against Barack Obama was going to be labeled as a racist. You can't vote against Barack Obama. You're going to be voting against this black man. You're a racist. So now, all of a sudden, the Republican Party has a successful black man that has made no excuses. He's an Washington outsider. He's able to come in, takes hold. He has a plan of 999. And as soon as he steps on the stage, he gets on top. All of a sudden, all these sexual harassment allegations come forth. So the thing is take Herman Cain out of the picture. What the media hasn't done, they have not seen one report nationally, even though there's been some local reporting done in various cities. Herman Cain actually took a lie detector test, a polygraph test. Herman Cain passed that lie detector test. He stated that he was not involved in any sexual harassment, yet the media hasn't reported that. Shoot, but when Bill Clinton was accused of sexual assault, the media was like, well, that's his own business. Leave it alone. But it all depends who's on their side.
Yeah, well, here's the question. I mean, how do you cozy up to the media and get your point across without upsetting the apple cart?
I think basically you have to be honest and you have to stay honest. And I don't think it's about cozying up to the media. You could be well liked, but you're going to be respected as an honest person. And as long as you don't have the baggage in your background and you speak the truth's going to come out. The whole thing is the media is going to attack you if you are going against the grain of what they believe. And with other outlets of media, such as conservative talk radio, and also the internet, you can still get the point across. And the main thing is for us as American people to go out and talk and really reestablish those people that are uninformed or have the negative perception of an individual and tell them the truth.
So what I'm hearing is if you want your message, as you say, if you're honest, you stick to your guns, you no pun intended for the constitutional thing. You say what you believe and you stick to it through your campaign. Stay with the media who supports you. In other words, Governor Palin went out there and she just slam-based at the media. I mean, yes. I watched that and it was like she's just shooting herself in the foot, because here she is saying, I don't care who you are, what you are, and that's a bad paraphrase, but basically it's like, I'm going to say what I want to say, no matter what you think. Well, that seems to be kind of a precarious position to find yourself in when it's them who is giving you your publicity. So what I hear you saying is, if you're conservative, you find a conservative radio or a conservative outlet to give yourself a voice, because unfortunately, we do live in a media-driven world.
Yes. And
to think that, if you just keep telling the truth, somebody's going to believe you, that's rose-colored glasses. It really is.
It is, and it is a very difficult position, especially for conservative candidates out there to be in, because what the mainstream media wants you to do is they want you to kind of fall into their trap, or say, like, you do what we want you to do, or we're going to go try to eliminate you. And see, John McCain fell into that trap. He was their media darling because he went to against the grain of conservative thought, and he thought basically he was somebody in the middle. And I think basically, as Ronald Reagan was, he's a person that stood on principles. You have to stand on principles, and you're going to be respected. As soon as you start wavering back and forth, but Ronald Reagan was very effective. He would take his message directly to the American people. He would go ahead and he'd bypass the media. And so in one sense, you can't expect just to make friends with the media to go ahead and deliver your message, because if they're going to be out to take down your message, you have to believe. And they can turn
on you just like that.
And they're going to. They're going to. But if you can bypass the media and take it directly to the American people, that's the key. And that's where you have to find other outlets to do so.
Now, you have the South San Joaquin Republicans organization in Manteca, I think it is?
In Manteca, yes.
How do you get your word out?
Well, I basically have, first off, I used to go on and look at the newspaper and find out people that were also active and voicing their opinion on such. And I would call various people up, and that's how I kind of started the organization, out talking to people, and then placing an ad in the paper. I'd follow up with the newspapers and talk.
So you did a lot of footwork.
I did a lot of footwork.
Yeah.
It was a lot of footwork to start out. Believe it or not, people did not think my organization was going to be successful. Being that I just tried to organize Manteca, really what had happened is the people in the surrounding cities around Manteca stated, hey, they want to be part of an organization. As a peace officer, I didn't have a lot of time. I'm a single dad with two little boys, coaching baseball. I wanted to put together an organization. As I talk to people, they say, I'd like to get involved, but I'm very busy. So I set up an organization that we meet 3 times a year. And the organization with that, it actually has grown and has been very successful. And from that organization, it's taken off. I have several candidates. They all want to come to my meetings. The next one's going to be January 10th in Manteca. And from there, I mean, I've been able to, I was able to meet President Bush. I became one of John McCain's campaign chairman back in 2008, and that put me in a position of lobbying for Governor Palin to be on that ticket.
Now, in your book, let's go ahead and hold that up again. In your book, you talk a lot about other things other than Sarah Palin.
Yes.
And it's very interesting how you bring in all these different aspects about politics. So the book isn't just on Sarah Palin, even though she's on the front cover. It's a beautiful picture, by the way. And I checked out some of your videos. They're all over YouTube and your website. And what is your website?
Well, it's the actual title of the book. It's sarahpalinoutofnowhere.com. So the title of the book is Sarah Palin Out of Nowhere. There's a video on the website of me and Governor Palin with each other back in September, so it was a couple months ago. And the book is beyond just Governor Palin. What I do is in the first chapter, I talk about the actual emails, transactions with the McCain campaign when I was lobbying for her. Chapter 2, I talk about how I became a McCain chairman and how I developed my own political ideology from a family that was Democrat and Republican split. Chapter 3 is a biography of who Governor Palin is. Chapter 4, I talk about the media, as we were talking about the media. Chapter 5, I talk about the communist influence on America, the Communist Manifesto, and Saul Alinsky. Chapter 6, my last chapter in the book, it's 376 pages in the book, is a chapter I talk about my solutions for America. And I offer 10 solutions for America. And matter of fact, some people have read that and it's like, well, there's some interesting solutions I never even thought about. And I'd say one of my main solutions is to bring back jobs here in America, regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat. One thing that really irritates the American people is that we have jobs leaving and going to other countries. We need to keep jobs here in America. We need to grow businesses here in America. And if Barack Obama has his way and he actually raises up taxes on businesses, that's just going to drive more and more jobs away from America and hurt the American economy worse, which basically, in effect, that's what he wants to do. As Saul Alinsky states in his book, you burn the system down and you rebuild a new one the way you want it to be built.
Do you think that your book was the impetus or part of the impetus to get her to be on the Republican ticket?
Well, the actual emails, when I did send off the emails to the McCain campaign, there was 5 emails that actually went to the McCain campaign. And prior to her being announced to the world, Chairman Pacheco called me up, and he said, I just want to be the first one to tell you congratulations, you got your girl. I had told him, I said, I didn't know how much influence I had. He said I had a great influence on that selection, and I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, as basically a small town guy, that I had an effect of actually getting Governor Palin on the ticket.
Yeah, a local guy does good.
Yeah.
What do you see for her future?
Well, I think she's going to be somebody that's going to be out there. I mean, she's going to pick and choose what she's going to be doing. As in the 2010 election, she was actually out there helping many of the other candidates that were running for office. 2010 was a big year for the Republican ticket. I think she's going to be very much involved in promoting conservative ideals and letting people know the truth. As we get more and more people informed of where the Democrat Party's taken us and how the socialists and communists are part of this Occupy Wall Street, how they've undertaken many segments of the Democrat Party and their alignments to the Communist Party. People got to realize we have to take a separate road. And what the Tea Party needs to do is take back the Republican Party, and so we give people an actual difference and not some mucky Republican Party that's trying to play out the middle.
Well, it seems like there's 4 parties going on here: the Democrats, the Republicans, the Tea Party, and the Communists. So it's going to be an interesting 2012. Again, where can we reach you?
Well, I'm in Manteca. I could be emailed at mantecarepublicans@yahoo.com. And if somebody wants to go to my website, it's Sarah Palin out of nowhere.com. That's the name of the book, and I'll be more than glad to guide people to any questions they have. And
well, you're very approachable and,
yes.
and very personable. So I wish you luck with the group that's going on up there. And as our next guest is coming in, I'd like to just recap real quick. You have the meetings in Manteca.
Yes.
And you have a couple of people meet the candidates coming up very
yeah,
soon.
Yeah, well, the January meeting is going to be Congressman Jeff Denham's actually going to be out there, and then we'll also have...
And that's on Tuesday, January...
Tuesday, January 10th. Congressman Jeff Denham's going to be there. Also, Assemblyman Bill Berryhill and Leroy Analis, who both are running for state senate. And then in my May meeting, which is already scheduled May 8th.
Good.
May 8th is going to be local candidates night. So anybody who's running for mayor, city council from the South San Joaquin area is welcome to come to that meeting as well.
And recapping about the media and the candidates, we were talking a few minutes ago about cozying up to the media. Anybody out there who's listening who is running for an office, please give me a call or check me out on Facebook. You can also see my videos on YouTube. I would be happy to have you on the show. So thank you very much for coming on, and I look forward to talking to you again. I think
absolutely.
we only touched on the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, there's so much more we could talk about.
Yeah, I love talking about the media and how it plays into the Americans' ideology of politics.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, happy birthday again.
Thank you.